was a cold Chicago night in 2006. And I remember holding a beer, standing inside of an industrial building. This bag of corn was hurled in my direction, spinning clockwise over towards me. And as it hit the board, it bounced once and went into the hole. I threw my beer in the air, and we celebrated, and I hugged my partner the way no two men should hug. As we had just won the 2006 Joe's on Weed Street Cornhole Championship. But we weren't always that good. And today you're going to learn the tip that we took to get us to that level. And you can apply it to anything, not just cornhole, to get you to where you want to be. When we started playing cornhole, we took it pretty seriously. We had access to a wood shop at our work, so we built our own custom boards. And at lunch, we would scarf down our food as quickly as possible and get out and play a half an hour of cornhole every day. This was an advantage no other team had, and we knew it. When we rolled into play on Tuesday night, we knew we had played 7 days that week because we would come in on the weekends. But yet, we would get to the semifinals or earlier, and we would lose. And we saw these teams that beat us pretty good, and we couldn't figure out why. So we would cry into our beers, and we would have a little team session trying to figure out what we needed to do to get better. Well, one particular time, my teammate Eric, who was our ringer, Eric had walked on to Ohio State basketball teams. So he had excellent, unlike me, he had excellent hand-eye coordination. And he said, Brian, do you notice that all the teams that are beating us, they throw the bag like a frisbee with the wrist coming out? We were always throwing it underhand like this. If they're all doing it, that must be the way to go. So that next day, we got to work because there is no off-season in cornhole. And you have to have a short memory to be the best. So we went to work, and we were practicing our new technique. And it was just horrible. The bags were going all over the place. We could barely get it onto the board. But we knew there must be something to the way that they threw it. So we continued to practice that. Months later, this technique led to our eventual victory. So what can you take from this? Today, I'm going to talk about a 3-step process to consciously taking a step back so that you can eventually take 2 steps forward. First step, observe the best. What do they do? What are the best at your particular field doing that is different than what you're doing? Let's take public speaking, for example. The best here are getting up and speaking almost every week. Like Ken. Like Tim. They're getting up here and giving speeches. So that's probably a good way to become a better public speaker. The second step, is to consciously take a step back. Now, sometimes you're thrown into a situation, say at work, a new job, or a new life situation, where you're forced to take a step back, and you learn a lot from that. But what I'm talking about is consciously taking a step back. So in our example, we knew that our new technique was worse off the bat, but eventually it was going to be better. When you get up here the first few times in public speaking, you're going to be probably not so good. But it can lead eventually to where you need to be. The third step to taking a step back is to have a plan B. When we would practice our cornhole technique, since it took so long to get better than our old technique, when we would go to compete for the first few weeks, we would fall back on our old technique. So we were practicing this way, we were competing this way, until we got to the point where this way, the Frisbee method was better. And what you can take from this is instead of getting up at your company in front of everyone and doing all these public speeches and grinding your teeth through all those parts, do it here. Do it in a place that you can get beat up, where it's an open space where people help and are supportive. And then wait a little bit until you roll up to the prime time, your new technique. So you don't have to worry that you have to jump on your new path right away. You can kind of save it in the background and then pull it out later once it's better. So today you've learned 3 steps to taking a step back. Observe the best, consciously take a step back, and have a plan B. If you can apply those like you are to public speaking, to other places that you want to get better, it's only a matter of time.